Right then, so now what we are going to do is we are going to design this exact single product page screen. So that just like the same thing how we're looking over here, we are going to design the single product page screen. So that's what we are going to do now. So let's go ahead and start doing that. So I'm just going to clear everything. So close all, right? And over here, let me collapse everything. So first, what we have to do is we have to fetch the very specific single product, because whenever you click it, it's going to push the product ID over there and it's going to fetch that single product. So inside here in the actions, so I'm going to create a new file called get single product.ts. Okay, so now inside here we're gonna fetch all the single product one by based on the ID wise. Let's go ahead and do that. All right, so now what we have to do is, all we have to do is okay, so let's get the product by based on the product ID. So we just have to supply the ID, like we already do have that over here. So just exactly the same way, you can use the same URL to pull over the data based on its ID. Right, so now we have that get the product by the ID. So let's go ahead and start designing all those stuffs, which is basically that need to be done by specific product ID. Right, so what I have to do is let's create a new project folder. Into the route, into the menu, I'm going to create a new new folder, and I'm going to say that as product ID, something like that. That is going to be the route, dynamic route, which we are going to create. And inside I'm going to create a new page.tsx. Right, so this page.tsx, basically it's going to display the product page informations. So let's say SFC, this is going to be the product page, and that is going to display the product page. So save these changes. Oops, div, that is going to be the product page. Save it, and whenever you click this any specific route over here, for instance, if I click this, or if I click any specific product, oh wait, let me figure it out which one we can click. Okay, let me choose this one. So if I click, now you can see I can able to see the product page. So in this product page, it's going to have the params as the product ID. So we have to fetch that. So in order to fetch that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an interface, and I'm going to get the product page props, open it, and params, which is going to be the product ID colon string. Now I can supply that over here, which is going to be the product page props, and we're gonna get the params inside of it. Now I can fetch that product. So const product is equals to await. So I'm gonna make this function as an asynchronous function, async product. So I'm gonna say get product, and I'm gonna supply that params.product ID. So params.product ID, so which is going to return me that very specific product. Right, so far we are not getting any issues over here. And now let me check it out. If I do console.log that product, if I able to see that specific product, which means it's working perfectly, right? And it's working good. It is working perfectly as we expected. And now all I have to do is to get the suggested product. So const suggested product is equals to await get the products based on the category of that selected product. So product dot category. So based on the loaded product, we can able to fit the category, and we can display the list of categories based on that specific product. Okay, so that should give that detail. And now inside here, I'm going to delete it, and I'm going to create a div. Inside here, I'm going to bring the container from the add components container, right? And this container, basically it is going to be with the class name of bg white, then a rounded lg, and margin top and bottom it's going to be 4, right? So next what we have to do is, so here I'm going to create one more box of it. So which is going to be add box container, enter, and this is going to be class name text neutral 700 and text sm and item center and margin top, it's going to be 12. Save these changes, and inside here we're gonna have exactly the same stuff like what we did inside the product, just exactly the same thing what we did over here, right? Just like this. That is what we are going to do now. So I'm just going to copy it from there and I'm going to paste it over here, and I'm going to import all these things properly. Home, and I'm going to bring the, okay, so you should be able to see that now this container, it doesn't have any, if I maximize it, you should be able to see it, but it is not having any specific padding over here. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to say px4. So now I should be able to see some padding over there, right? Then right after this box, and over here I'm going to create a div. I'm going to say class name px, it's going to be 4, and py, it's going to be 10, and small device px, it's going to be 6, and large device px, it's going to be large device px, it's going to be 8, and space y, it's equal to 10. Come on, space y, it's going to be 10. All right, then inside here I'm going to create one more division, which is going to be on large device onwards, it's going to be a grid, and large device grid column, it's going to be 2, and large device items, everything should be on the start, and large device gap x, it's going to be 8. Enter. Right inside here we are going to have the gallery section, which is going to display the multiple images, and the second division is going to be for the info section, right? So for this I'm gonna have the class name, which is going to be margin top, which is 10, and the px, it's going to be 4, px, which is going to be 4, and on small devices margin top, of course, it's going to be 16, and on small device px, it's going to be 0, and on large device margin top, it's going to be 0. These are the some slight adjustments based on the informations which we are going to supply to it, right? All right. All right then, so now let's go ahead and create the galleries first. Okay, so let's go ahead and create the gallery. Gallery is nothing but, okay, over here you can see we have the different options to display these different sets of images. This is what we are going to create now, right? So what I'm going to do is basically inside this components folder, so I'm going to create myself a new component inside this components. Yeah, this is the components folder, right? Inside, and this is the product ID, and inside here I'm going to create a new folder called components, and inside this components I'm going to create a new folder for gallery, right? Inside this gallery I'm going to create yeah, let's go ahead and create. So we have to create all those stuffs which is based on the galleries and everything. So let's go ahead and create, first let's create the gallery over here. Okay, in the page dot, just moment, one moment please. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just over here I'm going to bring the gallery over here. So let's go ahead and create a new gallery over here inside the gallery folder. So gallery.tsx, and basically that gallery.tsx is going to be our use client, and it's going to be sfc, and let's say gallery, and here I'm just going to say div gallery or something. Let's go here and let's bring that gallery section from /components gallery, save it, and now you should be able to see that gallery over here. Fine. So inside the gallery it is going to have the gallery props, so which is going to be the interface gallery props, open it, which is going to be an images, and inside here we're going to have the URL, which is going to be a string, and basically this is going to be an array of objects, right? Something like this. Then I'm going to pass that over here, gallery props, and this is going to have the images inside in it, right? Which is going to be an images. Save the changes, and here I need to supply those images, which is basically coming from your product dot images. That is what it's supposed to be. You should send your product dot images into it. Okay, so save these changes. Now all we have to do is to go ahead and install this tabs from here. Search for tabs. So you should download and install this tabs. Copy this, and let me open the terminal over here, paste it and install it. So this should download the latest of the tabs and everything. So just like the same way, we have to configure a tab list and the tab content. So let's go ahead and create that now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete this, and I'm going to bring the tabs from where, from add components UI. Please make sure that it's coming from add components UI tabs and everything. So by default, this is going to have the default value. By default value, it is going to be images of 0th index dot URL. So whatever the first index, we should fetch that URL and we have to display that. That is going to be the default value. Then class name, of course, it is going to be with the full. Then inside this tab, of course, I'm going to get the images dot map function, and I'm going to access that specific tab. And here I'm going to bring the tabs content, which is coming from add components, open it. And inside here, I'm going to say key. Of course, it is going to be the tab.url itself. That URL itself, it's going to be key. And I'm going to supply the value, which is going to be the tab.url.toString. Let's make sure that it should be a string, right? So, and here inside here, I'm going to display the gallery content, which is going to be an image. So gallery content image, which is going to be an image. So let's go ahead and create the gallery content. So so all you have to do is to, inside this gallery, I'm going to say gallery content.tsx. Okay, so, and here use client, and this is going to be sfc gallery content image, and this is going to be the gallery content. Save these changes, and let's bring that gallery content over here. This is going to be the gallery content image. So save the changes, and now this is going to have a specific props. So interface, which is going to be gallery content props, open it, which is going to receive the URL in the string format. So I'm just going to say URL, which is going to come from gallery content page props. So here all you have to do is to URL, which is going to be the tab.url. All right, so inside here, all I have to do is to create a division, which is going to display that image over here, just like this. So all we have to do is to create a div with the full height, full aspect ratio, rounded and everything, and we have to bring this next image and we have to display this. That's it. And inside here in the gallery, in the tab contents, now you should be able to see those image, right? So now I can able to see the tab contents, right? And now inside the gallery, I need to bring the gallery tabs. So right after here, so I'm going to bring the tabs list. So tabs list from add components UI, which is going to have a class name of bg transparent. It should be transparent, and width, of course, it should be full. Then here I'm gonna do the images.map. I'm gonna get the tab outside of it, and I'm going to supply the tabs trigger from add components UI. And here I'm just going to say key. It's going to be tab.url itself, and value, which is going to be tab.url.toString, right? And inside here, now what I need to do, I need to bring the gallery tab, and inside this, which is going to have the URL, which is going to be the tab.url, right? So let's go ahead and create that gallery tab, and right click and create this gallery -tab.tsx. And here in the gallery tab.tsx, which is going to be exactly the same stuff just like what you did in the gallery content. I'm going to copy everything and I'm going to paste it inside, but this time this, instead of this gallery content image, and this is going to be gallery tab, something like that. So it is going to take the URL and it's going to display the image, and instead of this it is going to be 24 aspect ratio, and it is going to be aspect ratio, and this is going to be rounded medium. Save the changes, and let's bring the gallery tab over here, /gallery, and save it. Now you should be able to see that tabs over here. See, we have different tabs and I can switch between the multiple tabs over here. Cool, that's looking cool, right? So then what I have to do is I have to bring the information sections. So this is the place where we are going to do that, and I'm going to say info / and here I'm gonna get that product and I'm gonna supply that product to it. So let's go ahead and create the info section inside this component. Let's say info.tsx, and over here in this section, so this information is going to be just like the use client and SFC, which is going to be info, and div, which is going to be the info for the time being. Let's keep it as info, save these changes, and let's import it for right now. Later we'll fix that product issues and everything. Now you should be able to see the info, right? So this is not supposed to be that info. This is supposed to be /components, and now you should be able to see the text over there. All right, so now this should have a products, so interface of info props, open it, which is going to have the specific product, which is the type of the products. All right, and I'm going to destructure it over here, info props, and inside here we're going to get the product, save it. Now we should be able to have that product inside, right? So what I'm going to do is, so basically, so here we are going to design this stuff just like this, where we can able to adjust the quantity and everything, right? So let's go ahead and start doing that. So what I'm going to do is, so I'm going to wrap this into a div, and here I'm going to bring the h1 tag, which is going to be our product name. So let's bring the h1 tag over here, which is going to display our product name with the text, font, bold, text, neutral, and everything just like this. Then we have to create a division right after this h1 tag div. Let's create a division with the margin top 3, then flex item, everything should be on the end, and justify, everything should be between. And inside here I'm going to create a paragraph tag with just a dummy text, because we don't have any specific product description. If you wish to, you can add it on the products page and you can display it over here. Right now I'm just displaying the dummy division, right? And then right after this specific division ends, I'm going to create a division with going to be width full, and flex item center, justify everything in the starting position, and gap, of course, it's going to be 2, and flex, it's going to be wrap, and px, it's going to be 2, and margin top, it's going to be 8. So save these changes, enter. And now, just like exactly the same way what we did inside the product content, we are going to display the cuisines, categories, kitchens, and everything. So every time whenever we are displaying it, we are just going to please make sure that this is having the cuisine, then we have to display it just exactly what we displayed on the product card, right? So then import those necessary icons just like that. So save these changes. So this is how that it should looks like, right? So but the sizes and everything, I just increased it a little bit. So you just pause this video, just create only one, then you can replicate the same, copy and paste the code, and you can redesign it completely by yourself, right? So right after this division, okay, that's the division is getting ended, and right after this division I'm going to create one more division, which is going to have a class name of width full grid column 4, and margin top, of course, it's going to be 12. Then here I'm going to create a class name which is going to be column span of 1, call span of 1, and space y it's going to be 8, right? Then right after that, I'm going to create one more division which is going to have the column span of 3. It's going to have the column span of 3. And then inside here, now what I need to do, I need to display the price and serves. So that's what we are going to do. I'm going to bring two different paragraphs and I'm going to display the price and serves over here, just like this, price and serves. Then right after this division, what I have to do, I have to bring the quantity. I have to bring the price and I have to bring the quantity which I wish to serve over there. So let's bring the product price right after here. So this should display the product price over there. Then right after that, I'm gonna bring an this like this over here, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So let's open it and I'm going to create an array like 1 2 3 4 5, something like this. That's the maximum quantity that we are going to do. So map, open it. Then I'm gonna get the number out of it, open it. So here I'm going to create a division, and key, of course, it is going to be the number, and the class name, of course, it is going to be a dynamic string literal. So let's open it. Let's use the cin. Okay, open it, and let's say width 8, height 8, height 8. Then it is going to be the cursor pointer and rounded medium, flex, item center, justify center. And if we wish to have the border, or we can add the border over here, and we should have the border as a hero color, right after here. What I need to do is, so all I have to do is to make sure if that number is equals to the quantity, then we should make that color. So in that, is that the case, then we have to create the quantity over here. So what I'm going to do is use state snippet qty set quantity. By default, the default quantity is going to be 1. That's the quantity, right? That's what we are creating. And then all I have to do is to scroll down all the way to the bottom, and right after here, if it is equals to quantity, if it is equals to the number which we are getting, then over here we just have to say bg should be hero, and shadow should be medium, and text should be white. If it is not, then what we have to do, bg should be the transparent and shadow should be none. And inside here, all I have to do is to display that number. So save those changes, and now you should be able to see this. Okay, this is not quite we wanted. This is supposed to be full, just like this. But this division, okay, so this is not wrapping up inside. We should wrap this up inside a div and paste it, and let's make this division as flex, item center, and gap as true. So now you should be able to see that, and this gap should be 2. Save these changes. Now you should be able to see that. Now we have to change the quantity. So every single time whenever I'm clicking this on click, I'm gonna call a callback function over here, and I'm just going to say handle quantity, and I'm going to supply that number into it, right? So let's go ahead and create that function now. So scroll all the way to the top, and right after this, I'm going to create that function. So const handle quantity. I'm going to get that number over here, number, which is going to be the type of the number, and I'm going to have a callback function, and which is going to set the quantity over here with that number, right? Save these changes, right? So now if I choose 2 3 4, you can see it is switching back and forth whatever the quantity that you are selecting over there. So this is how the quantity gets updated. And at the end over here, we're going to bring this add to cart option. So right at the end of this division over here, I'm going to bring a button which is coming from add components, and I'm just going to say add to cart, which is going to display the shopping cart, and which is going to have the class name as width as 4 and height as 4. And for this button, of course, class name, width, of course, it's going to be full, py, it is going to be 6, and text excel it's going to be, and font semi bold, and hover bg it's going to be the hero, and on hover the text of course it is going to be the white, and flex item center, justify center, and gap it's going to be 3. Save these changes. Now you should be able to see this add to cart just like this. All right, so and then all we have to do is to get back to the page.tsx, and we have to display the suggested list. So let's go ahead and display the suggested list. All I have to do is to inside these components I'm going to create a new file called suggested-list.tsx. okay, and that is going to be use client and sfc, let's say suggested list div suggested. Save these changes, and let me bring that suggested list right after where I need to bring container division. Okay, right after here I need to display that suggested list from where, and then I need to supply the products which is going to be the suggested products. Okay, so let's go ahead and create that. So if I say this, it's not going to throw any issues and everything. So here interface, which is going to be the suggested list props, open it, and here I'm going to get the products, which is going to be the products array, because that's what we are going to get, right? And here open it, and let's say suggested listed props, and I'm just going to supply the products over here. Save these changes, and then right after here I'm just going to get the const is equals to use params, open it. So here I'm just going to get that product id. So because suggested products need to list out only the suggestions except this specific product which we already loaded, right? So I'm just going to bring the React fragments over here, and here I'm just going to bring the hash2 tag, which is going to have the text3 excel, and it is going to be text neutral 600 and font semi bold. And inside this hash2 tag I'm just going to say related products, something like that. Save it, and inside the hash2, after the hash2 tag I'm going to create a div which is going to have a class name. Okay, so basically this class name is going to be a grid, and grid column of course it's going to be 2, and medium the column span, wait a moment, so grid column, and for medium, on the medium device grid column it's going to be 3, and large device it's going to be grid column it's going to be 4, gap it's going to be 6, gap y it's going to be 20, and medium device gap y it's going to be x it's going to be 4, and on medium device gap y it's going to be 24, and margin my it's going to be 6, and py it's going to be 12, something like this. Save these changes, and let's bring this view word wrap over here, and right after here I'm gonna bring those popular contents. So I'm just going to load that products dot filter. I'm going to apply the filter, and I'm going to extract the item, and that item dot id should not be equals to the loaded product id, which is already loaded from the params, so we can get that from there. Then I'm going to use the map function, then I'm going to extract the item from there again one more time, and I'm going to load the popular content from add components popular content, and I'm going to supply the key which is going to be the item.id. Then I'm going to supply the data which is nothing but our item itself. So save these changes. Now you should be able to see the related products which is not matches this specific product. You can see this is red berries and this is the berries. Now if you click this one, you should be able to see it is loading the berries, and it's having only these 3 images over here, right? So we successfully fetched and displayed the every single products. Now all we have to do is to go ahead and create the carts option, and that's what we are going to do next.